Hi, this is Vunuin. For those of you who are new to the channel, I'm the inventor of the Evolution Home Gym. If you're an inventor yourself and you want to bring your product to life and you just don't know where to start, this is the channel for you. So make sure to subscribe so you can follow me in my journey. Over the past few videos, I've talked about how I wanted to increase the functionality of my invention by integrating a platform. It was simple in theory, but it turned out to be much more difficult in practice. It really forced me back to the drawing board and made me rethink this structure entirely. As I mentioned in the last video, because there were a lot of potential changes, I used a few key criteria to guide me along the redesign process. I needed the product to be strong, lightweight, adjustable, and multifunctional. I went through a few different designs, built a few more prototypes, but eventually I got myself to the point where I was ready to move past my PVC pipes. At this point, to be able to test all of the required functionality, I needed a more complex, stable, and sturdy frame. It was time to move on to a metal or a steel prototype. However, some of the required skills, so welding specifically, were a little bit beyond my capabilities. Even though I couldn't build this round of prototypes, I still managed to be resourceful. In my video on my first functional prototype, I talked about Kijiji. Well, it was my turn. I managed to find a gentleman who had a pretty decent shop out of his garage, and he only did smaller custom projects. Perfect. Just to do my due diligence, I did visit a bunch of larger metal workshops. His rates were substantially cheaper. But looking back and reflecting through my experience with him, it wasn't just his rates that were excellent. Because he was an independent contractor, he cared so much about his reputation and doing an excellent job on all of his projects. I really did have a great relationship and experience with him. I am more curious by nature, so I ask a lot of questions. And because of that, he was more than happy to share his experience with me with metalwork. He gave me tips and tricks about welding and gave me a few key pointers that I still keep in mind today when it comes to mass production and future redesigns of the Evolution. Even though he didn't have any exact experience in fitness and exercise equipment, his expertise in metalwork helped me to balance between cost and functionality. In the last video, I mentioned that I required perforations or holes all along the frame to attach resistance bands to various heights and various locations. He helped me to balance between having too many holes and too few, both from a cost and a functionality perspective. At this point in time, I wasn't aware that in the production phase, my manufacturers would use machines to cut holes, so more holes didn't necessarily correlate to more cost. There was one more criteria that I forgot to mention. I wanted my product to be extremely convenient, and convenient to me doesn't just mean space-wise. Convenience in my mind meant that the product could be assembled or disassembled in a matter of minutes, if not seconds, and that to me meant no bolts and no screws. I understood that one of the large barriers that people had was that other fitness equipment and products were so large, bulky, heavy, and complex, and once it was installed, it was there to stay. I wanted my user to be able to quickly take it apart should they want to, with no effort at all. This turned out to be the most complex of all the criteria. No bolts and no screws was very attractive because it forced the design to be very simple, and to this day, I'm glad I went that route. Users love the fact that it's so quick and simple to install. But at the same time, it was very difficult to find a design that balanced between structural stability and this convenience. Anyways, after a few weeks at the drawing board, this is the design that I came with to use as a base. I want to post it right here. In the next video, I want to show you the materialization of this design and then where I went next. See you next video. Make sure to subscribe so you can follow me in my evolution journey.